Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Happy Labor Day, everybody. It's Monday Musings, Danny and Friends SportsWrap. It's presented by ASFCA, Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. 8 locations all around the Kansas City area to make you feel better. Check it out. Always makes me feel better every Friday. My wife goes there too. We are fine-tuned and frisky for being of a certain age. Well, we are laboring here on this Labor Day. The Royals will be laboring on this Labor Day. They are laboring overall with their first 5-game losing streak of the year, but the news surrounding them, except for the Guardians, has been pretty good, so they still are in excellent position as far as the wild card is concerned. They have a series immediately, like this afternoon, with the Guardians, and they could make up ground head-to-head with them, but they're not hitting right now. They made some additions to the roster, certainly. The rosters have expanded now. That allowed them to make 3 acquisitions and put them all into play. 2 of them played right away. We'll check that out when we talk baseball in our second segment, but it's football season, that's for sure, and we've had to adjust a little bit. Usually by now it would be Danny and Stan's football weekend on Mondays, but we're going to put that off as far as exclusively talking football for a little bit, what with the Royals being so prevalent and relevant. And we'll decide what we're going to do when it comes to Chiefs time, and the Chiefs are raring to go. We had action last Thursday. We've got action this Thursday, pro and college. It was basically tune-ups for the college teams. We'll talk to Stan about that and get set for the Ravens and the Chiefs and more intense games, especially for KU and K-State, as far as the college action is concerned. Scotty Scheffler wrapped up an incredible 2024 season with a win at the Tour Championship in dominating fashion, although if it had been a regular tournament, a couple of guys actually shot a lower score than him, but he earned the bonus points that he got, and he earned the $25 million that in the end he got. And all that, the current hits a stumbling block. That's been unusual for them. The U.S. Open is on. It's down to the round of 16. DirecTV and the Disney Corporation are scrapping, so I've got ESPN and ABC problems in my house because I'm a DirecTV subscriber. Maybe that's bothering you as well, but not much should bother us on this Labor Day. It's a beautiful day here in the area. My wife is actually laboring a bit right now. She's not laboring. She sounds great, but she's rehearsing in the background, if you hear that. She's got an actual full rehearsal today. A couple of things coming up for her as far as recitals are concerned. I'll give you some information on that and all the different podcasts. Maybe you want to come out and catch some popular show tunes and full-blown opera with her. Anyway, we're here to talk sports on a Monday. It's Monday Musings, Danny and Friends SportsWrap. It's presented by ASFCA. We talk football with Stan Weber coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
It's always a pleasure to catch up with Dr. Brad Woodle from Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. There are 8 locations all around Kansas City, including the newest one in Raytown.
In Raytown, we just joined Raytown July 1st. We took over for a retiring doctor, Dr. David Frey, and we are just honored to see all of his patients and take care of the Raytown community.
And communities all around Kansas City with the best of care in a wide variety of fashions.
We do chiropractic using multiple techniques, acupuncture, disc decompression therapy, cold laser therapy, different physiotherapies, exercises, whatever you need for your bones, muscles, joints, and nerve pain, we can help.
Find that help at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture, 8 locations all around Kansas City. Visit ASFCA.com.
Did you experience hail damage last year and never got the work done? Most insurance companies only give you a year to get the roof fixed. And if you don't get it done, you could possibly not be compensated in full for the replacement of your roof. If you've been procrastinating getting that damaged roof taken care of, give us a call at 913-257-5426, and we'll send out an expert to help you through the process. We're never pushy, we're just here to help. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business to Kansas City's #1 variety podcast, contact us at Danny@DannyClinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you.
Welcome back. It's time to talk football. With the Royals relevant, it's not all football these days, but there's plenty to talk about and plenty of significant football. We got into action on Thursday and Saturday for our locals, and the Chiefs will be getting into action themselves on the upcoming Thursday, and no better person to break it down than Stan Weber. We got cranked up for our 25th year of college football game day on Saturday, and we will be reflecting this coming Saturday on Sports Radio 810 on a Kansas game on Friday night. We'll get into that a little bit as well. But first of all, Stan, it was pure scrimmage time for our locals. Maybe K-State and Kansas had a little bit more trouble kicking it into gear. Missouri did not, but all ended up winning by lopsided scores, all ended up getting the extra players into the game and up and fine-tuned, and I think they probably met most of their goals.
Yes, getting the win is obviously important, and it's hard to win, but it wasn't like we saw on Sunday night with that special game where LSU and USC went at it at a high level with a lot of excellence and a lot of pain to the loser and joy to the winner. You knew when Missouri kicked off and Kansas on Thursday night and then K-State on Saturday, they were going to get the job done unless something super crazy happened, and it didn't. Each team ranked in the top 25, each thinking that they could be in the college football playoff. Got a season off to what is really a smart start. You mentioned it, getting players into the game who don't normally get an opportunity to play every game or are new to the program, either transfer portal, young players, guys getting their first opportunity to play a lot. Those things are really important to check off. When you only have 12 games and no preseason and you don't get a tackle to the ground that often, getting game action is really important. All three did it, and they showed some excellence. And they've just set themselves up for the rest of the season. Not a lot to talk about for either of the three teams because I don't think we came away with a lot of injury issues.
Nope.
And everything else was check, check, check. A lot of players, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of fun at the stadium. KU a little unique over at the soccer stadium. Mizzou crowd came, partied on a Thursday night, very impressive. And then K-State was able to play on Saturday at night, which meant big tailgating. So the football teams all did what they needed to, Danny, and really are setting themselves up to say, what about week 2? And with K-State, week 2 is on the road at Tulane, a tough place to play, and they'll play outdoors against Tulane. And then for Kansas, they play against an Illinois team that they beat up on last year, but still it's a road game at a Big Ten opponent. And Illinois played well in their first week. So Buffalo going to Missouri seems like it'll be a lot like week 1. Right. Tigers should get after it and win that game, Danny, but we're gearing up. These teams are easing in and getting going, and you feel a lot better than probably LSU does right now when they lost to USC, even though they played well.
You know, Missouri just curb stomped Murray State right from the start. It was a little bit more shaky. Not shaky, I wouldn't go quite that far for Kansas and Kansas State. Let's just talk about the Sunflower teams. Unfortunately for Missouri, they were so good, we really don't have to talk much about them, and they're not really even going to play another real game for a while. But Kansas kind of needed a pick six to jumpstart them. Kansas State kind of needed a block punt to kickstart them, but both of those things happened.
Well, a constant between KU and K-State, the Sunflower teams, Danny, that we haven't mentioned yet on this podcast is they really are bringing in new offensive coordinators at each. And that is one of the big issues, is getting that integrated in, even though a lot of the players are the same and you just think things continue on. Kolonicki is a great offensive coordinator, had been at the side of Lance Leipold for many, many years, all those years back. And those two guys had two peas in a pod, and now he's at Penn State getting things done. So Kansas had to transition in, and it's good to have Jalen Daniels back, who's off on one play, had a receiver going upfield. He thought he was going to stop, threw an easy interception, but he played a pretty clean game. But it wasn't dynamic. So I thought Kansas just needed to get going and get used to the new offensive coordinatorship. And then with K-State, Colin Klein was not at the bowl game, but this is the first time where you go fully on board with Connor Riley as the new offensive coordinator for K-State. And then you got Avery Johnson getting his first regular season start. He started in the bowl game last year, but when he had all off season to get ready, and they had to work through some things as well. So both those offenses didn't look like they were the high-powered offenses that showed up last year. K-State's offensive yards per game, Danny, was the second most in K-State history. They averaged over 200 yards rushing and 200 yards passing, in the same season. They did it 2 years in a row, but it's only the fourth time in K-State history that they had that happen. So K-State's offense was rolling. KU's yards per play was off the charts, one of the greatest in the history of college football when you look back to last year. And the year before was very good also. So I thought we saw a little transition for both those teams. Their offenses weren't functioning at quite as high of level as we've seen in the last couple of years. I think that would be expected. Early season and new coordinatorship. But on the defensive side, they both got to work, and that's good news. K-State's defense allowed only 135 yards all game long, stuffed the opponents, did not allow a touchdown, did a great job in the red zone stopping them. And KU, throughout the ball game against Lindenwood, you didn't see big plays. You know, Kansas has won a lot of games under Lance Leipold, but still the defense at times will give up that 15-yard or 25-yard play against a team maybe even like Lindenwood. Didn't see that. So solid defense for the Kansas teams and new transition in the offense is what I saw.
Let's look ahead now. As you mentioned, Missouri plays Buffalo. It's a MAC team, but not particularly a good one, and they got thumped pretty good in their opening game. So that should be more fun at the Zoo for the Missouri Tigers. You mentioned Kansas. They go on the road to Illinois. Illinois won their first game easily. Illinois played pretty well down the stretch last year. They split their last 6 games in the Big Ten and lost the other 3 by a total of 7 points. So it looked like maybe Brett Bielema is starting to turn things at that particular spot. It's on the road. It's Friday night. There'll be a fired-up crowd. This is a real challenge for Kansas.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see this game unfold because it's a 2-game series, and I do think that matters. I know a lot about Brett Bielema and what he has done at his times at Wisconsin, where he's very successful. He was a defensive coordinator at K-State when they won the Big 12 championship in 2003. He went on and reestablished himself pretty well at Arkansas, went with up to Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots as an analyst when he got fired at Arkansas, and he came back. Illinois is an interesting team, Danny. If you are a Missouri fan and you talk about Illinois, you just go, yeah, whatever. Illinois is not that good. It won't be that hard for Kansas to win because you just want to kind of blow it off and make it seem like Kansas isn't playing anybody good. If you're an Illinois fan and you think, boy, we're going to really turn into an Arkansas or Wisconsin, you're going to probably be disappointed. That's just not the way it seems to work at Illinois, no matter who the coach is. And then you look at from Kansas' perspective and you say, well, where does this fit in? I mean, okay, we're talking negatively about this Illinois team. Is this an easy W? We're the favorite. We're the ranked team. People are going to think this is easy. You can't have that mentality, Danny, because it won't be easy. You go on the road and play a Big Ten team that came off a very good game. They have trouble scoring consistently, but in the game they played in the week 1 on Thursday night, they got after it, scored a lot of points, ran the ball well, which he wants to do, but also threw the ball effectively and showed some things. And then the second component of this is that it's a 2-year contract. And I want to point out that when you play against Kansas, it's a unique team to play. It's a unique reputation. I'm sure Illinois players naively went in there last year thinking, oh, this is KU. Everybody beats KU. Well, they found out that's not what happens. And then they found out how good that offense was. So right now when Brett Bielema talks about, hey, guys, you better respect these Jayhawks, you know you got a high explosive football team in with good athletes and a winning mentality right now. They kicked your butt last year. You're going to let that happen again. That all's going to resonate. His players are going to play with a different type of focus, a different respect, and they're going to be used to playing against KU. They're going to have good tape from last year. So I think that makes it more of a challenge. This will be an interesting game. I think you're going to get the best of Illinois early into season, Danny. I think Brett Bielema's team will fight and claw. Kansas is the better team, but this is a respectful win.
Right.
When this game gets done and the Jayhawks win, don't just blow it off. Missouri fans will go, yeah, whatever. It's like us playing Buffalo. Illinois stinks. Big Ten slow. They are slower than Kansas. That'll be an interesting thing. Will the kind of power of Illinois be able to keep up with the speed of Kansas? It'll be interesting to see. But, yeah, Danny, I think this is a very legitimate win. If Kansas gets this, they will probably not get the credit they deserve for how tough this will be.
Kansas State goes to Tulane. You mentioned 11 o'clock kickoff in the morning. That'll make it slightly cooler down there outside in Louisiana, but that is southern heat in the late summer. And Tulane had a fine season last year. They won their first game easily. This is a respectable non-Power 4 conference team, and this should be an interesting game too.
Yeah, Danny, and it's kind of interesting. Like I talked about Illinois, there may be a lack of respect when you think about this game if you're not a Kansas